Well, welcome, Sian. Thank you for joining me. And for everybody watching, this is Sian Lewis, the girl outdoors. But I will let her introduce herself because she knows far more about herself than I do. Over to you, Sian.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me. I'm Sian, and I am a travel and outdoors journalist and blogger based in Bristol in the UK. And yeah, my job is mostly writing for newspapers and magazines and running my own blog, which is called The Girl Outdoors. So yeah, writing about the things I love, which is nice.
Yeah, and you do it all as well, don't you? Because right now you've got, say, as you said, you're a freelance writer, but you've got your blog, you've got your website, you've written the book, which I've bought and started working my way through, which is great. And it's really inspiring me to sort of learn how to do my my road bike and look after it a bit better. But, you know, you've really tapped into your passions and your interests with all travel and all your outdoor activities, and woven that into your career. And obviously I love of writing, and I absolutely say I love the way you write in here. There's humor, there's information.
Thank you.
Not too but it's not too technical. It's easily accessible, and it's the kind of whetting your appetite kind of book to give you enough information but not too much information. It's not too technical, but it also makes it humorous, and it makes it, you know, easy for people to read. And I say I shall be looking forward to finishing it. But you know, you've really brought all that together, and it's great because you've got, I think, 20,000 nearly YouTube, not YouTube, but Instagram followers as well. I was looking, and which is fantastic. So that's obviously growing all the time. So that's where you can find Sian on her Instagram page as well. But where did it all start? I mean, you've got this amazing career where you're writing, you're traveling, you're blogging, you know, you're doing work for a wide variety of well-known publications, of which I think obviously I know you've spoken to Craig Evans, who's got a YouTube forager with a YouTube following for like 88,000. I think you wrote about him in the Coast magazine, but there's a lot of other publications that you write for right now as well, aren't there? So
yeah, so I also write a lot for The Independent, Sunday Times Travel. I used to work for Country Files, so I still do stuff for Country Files magazine and website. Yeah, quite a lot of outdoorsy magazines and some of the bigger newspapers, so quite varied, which is nice.
Which is brilliant. So you know, where did it all start? I know we were discussing before we came on air that, you know, you were brought up in Spain, and, you know, I think some of your outdoor activities were there, but some were in Ireland. So can you talk to us a little bit more about, you know, your early days, and, you know, where you sort of perhaps the love for the outdoors started, and maybe where the writing came in as well?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I wasn't in a kind of insanely outdoorsy family, but we did always go just a lot of walking, a lot of camping, a lot of kayaking and swimming in lakes and rivers and stuff, which I remember really fondly. And I also, my grandmother, who lives in Ireland, is mad keen on sea swimming. She'll go in the sea in any month of the year. So even from a young age, I remember really loving swimming with her and thinking that was amazing. So definitely have really fond memories of not kind of like so much extreme sports, but just getting out in nature as a child and as a teenager, which I always really loved. And yeah, I've always naturally really loved writing and always thought that would be such a fun career. So kind of in my uni days, I guess worked out that maybe I could work as an outdoor travel writer and realize that was a career, which is, it's always quite exciting when you realize you can marry things that you love and you know, marry passions together. Yeah, but I think also, like, some people think you have to have a really outdoorsy background or childhood to get into the outdoors and sports, but I don't think that's true at all. I think there's something out in nature for everyone and for all levels of ability. Obviously it's nice if you've experienced that as a child, but that's definitely where kind of the passions came from. But what I always think as well with the outdoors is that the more you go out and do it, the more you kind of end up loving it and realizing how great it is for your physical and mental health. So I feel like my kind of passion for the outdoors has actually grown and grown during my career. So yeah, it's been nice. I feel like I'm still into it 10 years later.
Yeah, but it is, you're absolutely right. It's great. I mean, I run, and I run regularly, and I've got a sort of, I call it my hamster wheel of the village. I've added on a dog's hind leg. It's a bit of an animal thing going on. It takes me through the fields, and through lockdown, I've gone from sort of the bare fields to the crops growing, and I have to now go through those fields. There's such a feeling of wellness that you get from being in the middle of a field with crops growing. Far more so, even though I'm outside running, than just running on the pavements around the sort of perimeter of the village. And you know, it's great, like you say, and I think a lot more people have embraced that during lockdown, because previously we get wrapped up in our own world, don't we? So it's great that you've married, as you say, the two together as a career. But you know, you did have that exposure, but like you've also said, you don't need to have had it, but it does help, I think, you know, for you from an early age to sort of follow your flow, whereas people to, you know, any age can pick up going outside. You've only got to open the front door and put a pair of boots
absolutely
on. Or Wellingtons, as we were discussing. You know, just Wellington boots, you can go out. You don't even need walking boots, do you?
Yeah, very true.
Yes. So the point that you then went to university, because you decided you wanted to do journalism, so you've obviously had that sort of childhood, you've been, you know, exposed to outdoor activities, and a great range of them too, a little bit more than my swimming pool, you know, and school sports day, but it's, you know, it's great. And then you've gone off to university, and you went to study journalism at that point then, did you?
I did an undergraduate in Italian for no real reason, just because I didn't really know what I wanted to do at uni. But while I was at university in Bath, I worked on the student newspaper for the whole time I was there, and really, really loved that. So even to the point where in my final year I was more interested in working on the newspaper than doing my coursework. So I kind of quickly realized that actually what I wanted to do was work in journalism, and I then went on and did a master's in magazine journalism, which was great because it was just a really good grounding in what being a working journalist is like, and they really encouraged work experience, and it was just a great way to work out what I wanted to do. And I was never really interested in news journalism or anything like that. I really wanted to do lifestyle-y, travel, outdoorsy journalism. So it was great to kind of go on and study that thing. I think it can be quite hard to decide exactly what you want to do when you're 18 and you're off to uni. But at the time, just going to uni was great for me, and it did give me that space to then explore other things like newspaper writing. So it was really good.
Cool. And you said whilst you were doing your course, I was to say again when we were talking earlier, that you had to do some coursework, and it was around creating a blog, and that's when your blog started. So it was actually part of your homework. I don't think anybody's kept homework on for that long, Sian.
Yeah, homework for 10 years. Yeah, it was actually, I think, our lecturers at the time, which actually, you know, that at that time it was kind of it was quite, you know, far seeing to realize that blogging is quite a key skill as a journalist these days. So part of our coursework that year was to create a niche blog. So I started my blog as coursework, but I really loved it, really enjoyed writing it. And while I was still doing that course, just started to get readers and a bit more of an interest in it. So I thought, brilliant, well, I'm just going to keep that going. And actually the great thing about having a blog on any subject is that you really can keep it going alongside another job or another part-time job. You can pick it up and let it go as it works with your life. So although you do have to keep it going, it's a very flexible way to work and sometimes make money. So it kind of really opened my eyes to the fact that the great thing about as a journalist about having a blog as well is that you have your own platform where you're completely in control. You get to be your own editor, you get to make all the creative decisions. So it's actually quite good training as a journalist as well. So I think back in the day, being a journalist was kind of quite well respected, but being a blogger wasn't really. But now, I mean, I've always been both. But I think now people are really understanding that blogging it can be a career path as well. So I feel like that was a bit earlier for blogging, whereas now we know that it's this huge industry. But yeah, it was great to have that training at the time.
Yeah, great. I mean, as you say, you got into it really, really early, and and I think that's lovely because you become responsible for your own destiny, and that's taking that level of taking responsibility. And as you say, I think did you say you worked for one business following on from university, but then other than that you've been freelance pretty much ever since? So you've created all your own workflow, if you like, from sort of freelancing, from blogging, from influencing, etc. So you can create your own day work pattern, how you work, when you work, which is great, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how I work now. I have a lot of little different revenue streams, which I really like because it keeps you busy. It stops things getting boring. It means that, for example, in lockdown, some of my work has basically had to stop, and other things are still going strong. So I always feel quite pleased that I've got different elements of work. And in all kinds of writing and journalism, you know, some are really exciting. Some are a bit more kind of work a day, you know, things like copywriting. You just got to kind of churn out the words. So it's nice to have lots of different projects at once. It just makes it a lot more interesting. And I think 10 years ago when I was training as a journalist, we were much more expected to just go and be a journalist on a newspaper or a magazine and earn a set amount of money. And actually journalism has really changed. Now a lot of people work on lots of different projects, and I'm quite pleased that that's happened during my career, and that I can do that, because it's just great fun, really. And I do really love being freelance. It can be quite a big leap, but it's just great fun to be your own boss and have a lot more of a flexible working life.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you, because from a personal level, I've been self-employed since 2009, and you can create your own sort of working week, your day. I mean, invariably you end up working probably far more hours than anybody else, but you do it because you love it. You really enjoy what you're doing, which makes all the difference.
And
so
although you work harder, I think you have a better quality of life. I can stop and have lunch, I can stop and go for a run, or go and have a coffee with a friend. I can work around other things I want to do, which I do really, really value. I think I'd struggle to go back to working in an office.
Yes, me too. But I was also wanted to pick up on, because you've done an awful lot of travel, haven't you? I mean, the activities that you do. I mean, I was reading earlier that within your gap year alone you did a lot of traveling, and then obviously with the work that you do as a freelancer and as a writer, you sort of travel all over the world, and you're doing all these different activities as well as writing about them. So it's not like you are just writing about them, you are sort of immersing yourself fully in everything.
I travel a lot for work. It is fantastic. Sometimes it's more like hard work than other times. So I think when you have to do something for work, it can get quite exhausting, but I do really, really love it. So I probably spend, well, at the moment I don't obviously, but I probably spend about a quarter of my time away traveling, and the rest of the time I'm kind of at my desk or I'm in the UK, which it has been really, really great fun, and I do feel really privileged to get to travel for work. And it's an exciting field to work in, and definitely I think if you're like me and you like to be out and about and have things going on, it's great to pick a job where travel is a regular part of your routine. So it's been really, really good.
So which the activities that you do and you write about, what are your favorites? Which are which would you spend all week doing?
I really enjoy all of them. I would say I really like to go hiking and camping. I would always just happily go off hiking and camping, and the great thing about those is that they're very beginner friendly as well. You don't need to be, well, you need to be a little bit fit, but they really are accessible to most people. I also really, really love swimming in the outdoors, which is obviously now hugely popular, but I think that's really, really lovely way to get outside, reconnect with nature. Again, it's quite a quick and easy way to go outside if you've only got a couple of spare hours on a summer evening. Just going for a swim can really make your day. So I really enjoy that as well. If it's outside, I'm happy. I think the only thing I actually hate is caving. I think caving is horrible. It just doesn't do it for me at all. So anything else I'd probably be very enthusiastic about going and doing.
Yes, I was reading somewhere that you want to do cliff camping.
Oh, I have done that. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah,
I think I mentioned to you on the phone the other day that a friend of mine had climbed El Capitan and camped on the side of the nose, and it's like,
amazing.
Oh no! I mean, I do like to do outdoors things, but I thought, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, if you're afraid of heights, it's not the one for you. But you are attached to the platform, so it's actually quite safe.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's good to hear. My toes tend to curl when I go close to a cliff. I think I might have been thrown off one in a past life.
Fair enough.
So what are your top tips then, in terms of anybody wanting to start to do anything new activity-wise, or even sort of getting into doing something that's going to be following their flow, following their career? What advice would you give to anybody in both areas, actually?
Yeah, so for getting outdoors, I think it's if you're feeling a bit nervous and you're not sure about trying something new, the great thing about whatever activity you want to do is that especially in the UK, it's really easy to go and find a course or a weekend away or an instructor and have somebody teach you the basics so that you find that confidence. So for example, even if you wanted to, I don't know, try mountain biking, which can seem maybe a bit intimidating, you can, or sometimes for women as well, it can seem like they're a bit like boy sports. You can quite often find like all female beginner classes, or just like a really cool instructor who will teach you the basics and give you that confidence, which will help you go on your own the next time and feel like you know what you're doing, which is really great. With stuff like camping and hiking, I always recommend kind of starting small and building up. So you don't need to go like wild camping up a mountain as your first time. You could just go and have a weekend away on a summer's day and just make it like a relaxed, easy, fun experience. You know, it doesn't have to be hard work, it's meant to be fun, and just kind of ease your way into enjoying those sports or those activities that you'd like to do. And it's so great when you gain that bit of confidence. And I get a lot of emails from people, especially young women, who aren't sure where to start, and I think getting a bit of instruction and then just taking the step and getting out there is really great, and your confidence will grow. In terms of career, so it kind of depends on whether you want to work as a blogger or a journalist. I think if you're interested in journalism, it is a really good idea to do some work experience or an internship to see if you like it, basically to see if you want to work, what area of journalism you want to work in, if you want to work in news or kind of lifestyle publications. It's just great to get out there and network and have a bit of experience under your belt. And also you just kind of have to get writing, and that's where blogging is really good, because with a blog you can literally start up a blog in a day, get some writing experience, you know, show the world what you can do, have a little online CV of your work, and see if you enjoy kind of writing day in, day out. And also we have the fantastic tools now of social media, which means you can share your voice and your opinions and your work with the world, connect with like-minded people in your industry. You know, there's a strong outdoor industry these days in the UK, if that's something that people are looking into. With travel writing and travel journalism, it is a good idea to just kind of get traveling and get some experiences under your belt, have some adventures, and then you can come home and write about them and kind of go from there. But they are really rewarding areas to work in, and they also, you know, freelance writing and freelance blogging are very flexible as well. So I think they're really appealing, even if you're doing another job, or maybe you're a mum or anything like that, you can still fit them into your life. So I really recommend them.
Yeah, I think you're I think I noticed on your Instagram page you're actually running a course, aren't you, for people wanting to
I do have a course.
Yeah,
So I have a beginner friendly course for anybody who is interested in basically getting started in travel and outdoor writing and blogging, and it's basically just how to get started and how to make money from those ways of working, which again, yeah, you can make into your new career, or you can just do bits and bobs in your spare time. They are very flexible.
Absolutely, because you can always have a side hustle, can't you, in whatever you do.
Absolutely, they're a great side hustle.
So how do people contact you then, Sian?
So most of the info is on my blog, which is thegaloutdoors.com.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And obviously the book, you've got the book, so are you writing a second one, and what would it be about?
I am thinking about a second one. It's all very up in the air, but I think it's roughly going to be something along the lines of a guide to kind of weekendy adventures in the UK, but it's still in the planning stages.
That sounds perfect, because obviously with what's happening at the moment and sort of travel being restricted and looking at staycations and retreats, I mean, that's something I'm looking at as well myself, in terms of setting up holistic retreats with, you know, coaching and all nature of things all wrapped in together, whether it's foraging or yoga or, you know, but bringing it all together and doing it, you know, doing it in the UK. And it's, you know, there's so much beautiful coastline in the UK as well. Absolutely stunning. So I shall look forward to that. I think
there's a real interest in that. Yeah, well, thank you. So I think that's a nice that's the thing. Obviously travel is quite a strange industry to be working in at the moment, because we're not sure what's going to happen, but luckily there's so much cool travel and adventure to be had in the UK, which we still can access. So I feel like we're lucky that we have that.
Yeah, in fact, just to tap into that, and talking about travel and obviously not being able to go too far, there's so much actually on our doorsteps, isn't there? I mean, I was listening to a radio interview with Sandy Toksvig, and I think I haven't read the book, but she was talking about a book that she'd written, or a blog, and it was on this bus route, and she was doing all the history of where you got off at each bus stop. Which sounded really interesting, because there's so much history in the UK, so you could just literally go in your own area and explore.
Yeah, definitely.
And write about it. You can do anything, can't you, really? You can create it all for yourself.
Yeah.
But I think, just to sort of snapshot and recap, the fact is that you have followed your talents and your passions. You've taken advantage of the opportunities that were presented to you at university. You've tapped into that. And, you know, as you said, it's gaining that experience, it's getting out there, it's just doing it. And actually, to kind of use an outdoors analogy, it's dipping your toe in the water to try things. whether that be writing, journalism, actually getting outdoors, doing things, or anything in life. It is just going out there and trying it, isn't it? And just
Yeah,
seeing whether you
absolutely.
like it or not. And if you do, brilliant.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your story with me. And as I say, hopefully it will inspire other people who either want to get out there blogging, get out there doing outdoors stuff, you know, whatever that might be, whatever it looks like. And hopefully they'll all jump over onto Instagram and get you up from 20,000
Thank you very much.
followers and more. So thank you so much again for
Thank you so
joining me.
much,
I really
Sarah.
appreciate your time. So I know how busy you are. So thanks, Sian. Take care.
Thank you.